Thanks for tuning in to Vitality and Motion. Let this be a place to grow your mindset and prioritize movement. All audio is original with music and production support from Riverside as my editing platform. This podcast is for education and inspiration only, and any studies or products I mention are simply for context. Take what fits in your life and check in with your healthcare medical providers as you feel is necessary.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Vitality in Motion. I'm your host, Maddie, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Marlee Christensen. We went to high school together, and we're having almost like a little high school reunion talking about magnesium. So, hey, Marlee, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. We went to high school together, and I was so excited to hear about you starting a podcast. And we just got to chatting about supplements after I listened to her first episode. And I was asking about magnesium, and here we are. My husband and I were taking magnesium for months, and spoiler alert, not taking it anymore. Keep listening to learn why.
Ooh, keeping us on the edge of our seat.
No. Now, I am not in the medical field at all. I work in software, so everything I say is from the perspective of someone just trying to be healthy and Google things also.
Well, we know where to go now if we need any software or computer help.
Yes.
Marlee's your gal.
You hit me up, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and dive into it and first start by just defining what magnesium is, and then we'll kind of go from there. So if you want to take it away.
Okay, so I used the National Institute of Health's fact sheets for magnesium consumers for this definition. So it's telling me magnesium is a nutrient that the body needs to stay healthy, which is the pretty basic definition I read everywhere. It's important for processes like regulating muscle and nerve function, blood sugar levels, blood pressure levels, making protein, bone, DNA. So I'm gathering we just need to have enough of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I found a similar definition, so I'm glad we were on par with that. And how much magnesium did you find approximately is recommended to take daily? Because I feel like I found different ranges, but I did find common values.
I found a lot of different ranges and broken down like pretty specifically. So the different breakdowns I looked at gave me different answers. But I'm going off of that National Institute of Health, right? I trust them. For women would be 310 to 320 milligrams, and for men, 400 to 420. But they've got breakdowns for like children, for babies, for teens, if you're pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, lots of stuff. I won't read that all out to you, but
Yeah,
there's information available.
definitely. I also saw the same thing for different age groups. I did find it interesting that when you are pregnant, I think it said closer to 400 milligrams in breastfeeding as well. There's definitely a variety with that. I didn't realize there would be so much variability depending on the age group, but it makes sense. So what do you like to take magnesium for?
Well, when I started taking magnesium, I intended to take it for like the stress management. It's supposed to regulate cortisol levels, high blood pressure, those benefits. I don't know if I'm going to dive into this now or later, but I was taking the wrong kind for that. We're going to talk more about the types of magnesium later. So that's what I'm intending to take it for. Since researching for this podcast, I stopped taking it because what I was actually taking is used for heartburn and as a laxative.
I was gonna say, which one were you taking? When I was looking at the different types, I was wondering, I knew because I take it mostly for like sleep and relaxation.
Right. That's
So,
what I want to take. Yeah.
yeah.
It's not the right one.
Well, you know what? Maybe it was helping you be more consistent in the restroom,
Maybe.
you
Well,
know?
I stopped taking it the past few days since I've learned this. So maybe I'll update you. I'll update the pod listeners if I've experienced any constipation and stopping. So stay tuned, everyone.
We're getting really personal today, with our bowel movements. I mean, it's a common thing that everybody does.
In just getting it all out
We're getting it all out there, really getting to know each other. Yeah, I would say most of the time people like to take it for sleep and relaxation, and we'll get into more of the specific types.
Yeah, I'm curious, what type are you taking?
That's a good question. I like to take magnesium glycinate, again, like I said, for that relaxation and sleep. And I think it's the most common form that are found in supplementation. So,
Okay, this is what I was reading. That makes sense.
mhm.
What I've been taking is magnesium oxide simply because that is what has been on the shelf in every grocery store and it just says magnesium. Well,
Mhm.
yeah, we can dive more into like what exactly magnesium oxide is doing and why it's not as great for what I'm trying to use it for. But I just found that so interesting. Everything I'm reading is like this one you really shouldn't be taking long term. Your body can't absorb it, whatever. And I'm like, why is that the only thing on grocery store shelves? That's crazy.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
no, and I mean that's the thing is like the supplement market is so huge. People will buy it. People think that they should be taking magnesium, and a lot of people don't really understand which one they should take specifically. So it's a common thing, and that's why we're here, right? We're here to
yes, I hope someone
people
else can learn.
help people understand which magnesium they should take and which one they should maybe stay away from. Um, so we wanted to define the different kinds of magnesium. You've probably gathered that there's many different kinds. There's glycinate, citrate, oxidate, threonate, malate. I'm sure there's a couple others, but I feel like those were the main ones that I see a lot. Like we were saying earlier, glycinate is probably one of the highest levels of absorption for magnesium. It's a cleated molecule, meaning that it attaches onto other enzymes and is more easily absorbed into the body. And it's definitely suggested for people who maybe have a deficit in magnesium. It's a good place to start. Again, just highlighting that it is for relaxation. And then I did see that also citrate, magnesium citrate, is another one that is used for like laxative.
I found when I
But
was reading about citrate, it's just laxative, is what I
right. So I guess
Mhm.
like if you are maybe more constipated, that would be a good one to try. But again, I think that would be something that you should dive into, maybe talking with a health professional if you are having more of those issues versus just like more so for relaxation.
I
Um,
was reading that doctors usually recommend the more laxative forms, right? And for a specific period of time. So maybe citrate and the oxide are ones that we don't just self-prescribe indefinitely.
right. Well, and that's the crazy part. Like you said, I mean, it's an over-the-counter
Right.
supplement. I mean, it's not like it's
Yeah.
a drug, but like, people are just taking
Yeah.
that hype without realizing it.
I will say though, I have not noticed a difference. So I was taking magnesium, expecting like maybe my sleep will feel better, like
Yeah.
obviously these things I thought I was going to get that I didn't get because I'm taking the wrong thing. But you would also think if I'm taking a laxative for months, I might have noticed some other issues, but I didn't. And my husband was also taking this, and we're both like felt nothing. Like I don't know.
Well, and that's the other thing is like sometimes you have to question like, is it all in your head? Is it more of like a
Right.
placebo effect? But then again, this is just me talking out loud. Like a lot of people lack fiber in their diets. Maybe it's helping to move things along, especially if you aren't getting your correct fiber intake.
I'm bad about vegetables, so I'm good to roll with your theory. That would make sense for me and for us, honestly, how we cook together. It's like not enough veggies and fiber, so I accept that
Hey,
explanation.
you know what? I love almonds. Almonds are my go-to for fiber.
Are they high fiber? I did not know
Yes,
that.
they are. They're one of the highest types. I just like to eat them straight up with like cheese or like
Yeah.
fruit.
Follow-up episode all about almonds.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, anyway, do you want to dive into the remaining magnesium supplements?
No, we've talked a lot about oxide at this point. I mentioned earlier heartburn, indigestion, but I think the big one is this is the type that is hardest for your body to absorb. It's like these hard, chalky little pills, and it says that when I'm reading. It's like, yeah, chalky, your body's not gonna like this. Like, cool, awesome. So we'll move on. We've talked a lot about that. Threonate.
I think it's theanate, but I like threonate.
I
That's
might have written it down wrong. This is apparently a relatively new form of magnesium. Well, according to a 2013 review, but but they did another study in 2022 that is a bit more updated info for us, that this form can help with cognitive function, mental clarity, like along with that, the anxiety side of magnesium. So maybe this would be also a solid one to try for the purposes that we're intending.
Yeah, definitely. I also saw that it's kind of like a newer strand, and then it kind of like penetrates the mitochondrial membrane to get into the blood-brain barrier, and that's what they're hoping for to help with those cognitive and like, anxiety benefits. But again, take this all with a grain of salt.
That's sort of what I gathered from everything I was reading, is not a lot of human studies done on this stuff so far, but it seems promising and research going to keep coming out. So can I throw in a little bonus magnesium form here that I discovered about this? Taurate. Have you read about this guy? I mentioned high blood pressure earlier. My blood pressure is a little high. That form of magnesium is specifically for high blood pressure. And I thought it was so interesting that that's a different form than the general like anxiety, stress. Like I would have thought those would have been the same, but they aren't. And that form actually is not tested on humans yet. That's another one that needs research in terms of high blood pressure specifically, but on studies with mice, it significantly reduced blood pressure actually.
That's interesting. Okay. Cool. I like that. I'll have to look at that into that more because I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah.
So look at me learning something new.
A little fun tidbit. I was like, I've got to throw this in there.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think the last one that we had on the list was malate.
I found muscle fatigue was like the thing. That's kind of all I was reading about. I don't know if you found that it does anything else.
It's basically, I just think malate muscle, it just helps with like muscle recovery and fatigue. So maybe more of like a post-workout recovery versus like for some of the other benefits. So it seems like the main takeaway here is that glycinate is probably the best form at this time. That's been around a little longer than, say, threonate, which I think threonate is also very interesting. But for like a general population, probably glycinate, we would say is the best.
Never oxide.
Never oxide. Never again. And, we're just people and two girls that just wanted to learn a little bit more about magnesium.
Girls, I am not in a medical field, folks. I work in software. Listen to Dr. Mads. I'm just a girl who Googles. Okay. That's it.
Oh man. Hey, I'm not a doctor yet, but in 2 years.
But at least you're working on it. Yes. Okay. Double disclaimer. Mads is not a doctor, but she's a lot closer to a doctor than I am.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Did you find anything about magnesium and like, should it be taken alone or with other supplements? Cautions that you found?
I found more on the precaution side, more so than like having to take it with other nutrients. Mostly just how it might interact with other medications. Like I saw that you need to be careful if you're taking antibiotics, that you're not going to impact those at all. Let's see what else I have. Okay, high magnesium intake can cause diarrhea, nausea, and abdominal cramping.
I found a lot of the similar ideas. It's very rare to overdose or have a toxic reaction, I guess, to magnesium, and that comes with anything, just like having, anything in moderation. And honestly, I feel like it should be really up to the doctors to ask these patients questions of, are you taking supplements, which I think they do now, so that they can kind of see, what reactions happen with what medication. So a little out of our wheelhouse.
Absolutely. I've noticed that too when I go to the doctor, if I'm prescribed an antibiotic or something, sometimes I have to be like, oh, hey, I have to tell them I am taking this. Is this going to impact anything? And I do wish that doctors more so asked for like the whole list, because I'm like, we're dumb out here. We're just buying things. Like I don't know if what you're giving me is going to impact or vice versa.
Even just consulting your pharmacist, because they're, they are the experts in drugs.
point, I never talk to, like, I'm going to the pharmacy. I never talk to the pharmacist. I just grab whatever. I'm like, the doctor said this was good. Cool.
Right.
We should consult our pharmacist more.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to get a second opinion or just ask them, especially because that's their specialty. Like, why not go to the source of like the person who has the most knowledge about stuff? And depending on what their niche is in the medical realm or anything.
So, yes, I'm going to start talking to pharmacists, eating almonds, and taking magnesium glycinate.
That's the end of the podcast.
Here, I found what I came here for.
She found what she was coming for. Okay. Next, I think the next question we had was what foods are high in magnesium that you found?
Okay, back to almonds. I found nuts, seeds, whole grains, and green leafy vegetables like spinach.
Pumpkin seeds is another good one that I love. It's just like nice to like snack on. Again, same with the almonds. Flax seeds are actually another good and easy way to get magnesium, and you can put that like in a smoothie or in your yogurt. Yeah, and dark chocolate. That's another one.
I'd love to learn more about how I can eat more dark chocolate.
Maybe we should do another episode about dark chocolate.
I think listening to you talk, we could have a whole episode on healthy snacking. I'm like, I need to move in with you and eat all your snacks.
Come on over.
You have a lot of great ideas. I'm learning so much.
I'm so glad. That's another episode I do want to do is like healthy snack options that are easy. Okay. And then the last question that we had is what might be some signs if someone is lacking magnesium? What might you see?
This was interesting because some of these are the same as having too much magnesium. Addition to nausea, vomiting, some that I found were different were loss of appetite, fatigue, and weakness, which I suppose all sort of go together. And then for extreme deficiencies, you can have numbness, tingling, muscle cramps, which we also saw as having too much magnesium, seizures, personality changes, that's crazy, and an abnormal heart rhythm. So this gets pretty serious, which I guess makes sense going back to our definition of magnesium and all that it does for our body, right?
I think that's why it's so important to get your levels tested and maybe see what you're truly lacking. So if it's like, you know what, I'm not so much lacking magnesium, but maybe you're lacking another mineral or supplement that would be better suited to take. I wonder if people who do have more of that numbness tingling, if they did take magnesium, I feel like I should have looked that up if there's any people that have a decrease. Maybe that'll be a point we get back to you on. But okay, I do have a fun fact about magnesium.
Oh, please.
Did you know that there's a spray?
A spray?
Yeah, it's like you put it on your body, but it's supposed to be to avoid blood clots or muscle cramps, and you just kind of spray it on your legs, especially maybe after a long day after work. And it's interesting because I feel like, maybe it would absorb faster. I know IV is the quickest absorption, but I just wonder if like the spray would absorb quicker into your body versus like taking a pill.
That's interesting. You're reminding me that I was reading about how Epsom salt is just magnesium, and that I don't know if that's the same form, right? These seem like potentially the same idea, skin absorption.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel relaxed after I take an Epsom salt bath. So that's interesting. Definitely something to look more into.
Do you take a multivitamin too, Mads, or do you just do specific supplements?
I, at this point, just do specific supplements. I think that's the other thing is like you can take all of these different things and then it's like you don't know what's working and what isn't.
Right.
So sometimes it's better to just like start with like one or two things, see how your body reacts, see if you even notice a difference, and then maybe add on more if you feel like you need to do so. But I mean, a multivitamin could be great, especially temporarily, not something maybe you want to do full time, but if you're not a veggie girl, it might be worth it.
Expose myself right here. 1000%. I've been taking multivitamins since I was a child.
I think the main thing is like, is it third party tested? And if they're not advertising all these crazy benefits,
Right.
like you were saying, like skin, hair, nails, immunity, like it has like all these different things, then I think it's probably more legit than most.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say this has like fixed me either, right? This is just a thing that I'm taking.
Well, again, that's I guess the whole point of supplements is to supplement where you're lacking. And, if you feel like it brings you peace of mind and it works for you, then great.
Honestly, the jury's out. So I'm like, this is sort of a great time to learn about this magnesium that I've been taking unnecessarily and maybe get some lab results and regroup and report
Yeah. I think it's good. It kind of brings awareness, like I said, to you and to me, and just like even for me, like I don't know everything. I didn't know everything about magnesium that we discussed today, but I feel like I definitely learned a lot of good stuff. So
Me
you
too.
did too. But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming on and discussing this with me. It was a great conversation, and hopefully our listeners will agree with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Even if the listeners don't want to hear it, I learned a lot today. So I will be going to eat some almonds here shortly.
And report back to us.
Thanks again so much for being here. If you're looking to connect with me on socials, my Instagram is vitalityandmotion_. My YouTube is at vitalityandmotion with 2 N's at the end. And then my email is vitalityandmotion@gmail.com.